Well, that brings to mind something I've been wanting to ask you about for the last several days. The NFL announced their schedule last week, and um, I'm just gonna like I'm all ears for what your thoughts are on this because on the one hand I'm like, okay, this is a nice idea. On the other hand,
It's just a nice idea.
I mean, they must be confident to some degree that they're going to be able to pull something off, but it just seems like I don't know if delusional is the right word, but it's definitely flying in the face of reason. Like, why would Chris Sims, who's on Pro Football Talk, I know you know that, but with
Co-host.
Mike Florio, he's the co-host, right? Florio and Sims and Peter King were talking about it right before they made the announcement, and Chris was like, "Why do this now? Why would they announce this now? What is the point?"
The
And I don't know what the point is. You, I'm all ears here. I'm dying to know what you think of this.
the point is, they get to win the media world, at least as a co-winner at the moment, the sports media world for the next week after it in every market in America.
Hmm. Okay,
Um,
so you're saying this boils down to marketing?
yeah, that's what the NFL draft is too. It's marketing. It's taking um, more land. It's a land grab.
Hmm.
So that's on one level. We're talking about a land grab. We wanna grab this space
But
and
it's
own it.
also reassuring their fans, like, hey, we're gonna have products for you starting in the fall, more or less. Like
That's
more or less around the time that we say we are, barring a few hiccups, fuck it, we're going forward. And
well,
I power to them if they can do it. I know that the president has that committee on like restarting sports and it's mostly football owners, right? Um, uh, but look, I hope it happens. But there's a certain hubris to it,
yeah,
don't you think?
yeah, and you're getting into the micro. The macro is like we're gonna own this time period, and we know that
Mm.
every sports market and secondary sports market is going to spend time breaking down the team in their areas schedule for the next forever. Um, the micro thing is, yes, you're right. It is hubris. Um, I said, and I think I said this when I appeared on Evan Dawson's show to talk about this. Um, uh, there's too much money involved for them not to have games. Too much
Yeah,
money,
you said that to me before. You said they're going to play probably with no people in the stands. Is what you
without a
are
doubt,
predicting.
without a doubt, and uh, they will pull it off come hell or high water. And I think they wanted to make it clear, as you were saying, to their hardcore fans that if we have to build a football island, we're going to build a football island, and you're going to all play football on Football Island. We are going to have football. We're. It's not that we don't care, even though I honestly don't think they do. I'm not being facetious. I really don't think they care.
They care about what you really don't think they care about what or
I
about
don't,
who.
about any of this. I think they care about the money
The network deals.
The network deals are so much of their bottom line. So much. They can't afford to care about anything else.
Right, and you told me they're not going to give the networks a break.
No. Are you kidding me?
No. Like, we got your money, tough shit.
Especially if this lockdown, like, where we are in New York State, if it stays to a certain degree, let's say we get to like phase 2 or 3 and we really can't get out for a couple months and it's like football season, and it's like that in a lot of parts of the country with large populations, do you know the kind of ratings they would get?
Oh, enormous.
You know the kind of ratings they got for the NFL draft? It would be enormous. So they know this. And there's no way they would cut them any kind of deal. And watching the UFC as I did on Saturday night strengthens their hand. Because that product was compelling. Whether you hate mixed martial arts or not, the product actually watching people, after a while you didn't even notice that there wasn't a crowd.
Huh. Yeah, but a crowd isn't as essential to the overall ambience of.
Oh yes, it is.
Mixed martial arts.
Oh yes,
is it really? Okay.
Yes. You could hear there was a really brutal fight. The last fight of the evening was a really brutal one between Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson, and you could hear every hit.
But so,
yeah,
because I have a hard time imagining that people aren't going to notice the lack of crowd noise.
I honestly think that it will. I think the mistakes that they made, and I watched a little pro wrestling without crowd noise also in recent weeks. The mistakes that they make is when they play to the crowd, whether it's like having, getting the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army, trying to get the crowd to chant and all that stuff. If you take that away and you just focus on like the game, as a product from home, I think the players will notice it. But from home, I don't think we will notice it as much.
Well, that remains to be seen, because to me, the sound of that hum of crowd noise, to me, is such an essential part of. That's why I don't like watching games on CBS, because their crowd noise is lower. I find those games. I love their announcing, but Romo's on CBS, right?
Yeah.
Romo and Jim Nance.
Yeah, Nance and Romo.
I love Romo, but I don't like those games are quieter. The crowd noise is quieter in their audio mix, so that kind of feels more sleepy to me. But we'll see. I mean, listen, I will be fucking like a pig in shit if football season starts on time. I'll be thrilled beyond belief, especially waiting with no sports at all and like completely rehashed to death storylines that like the talk shows are like straining to have something to talk about. Thank God The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary, is keeping the entire sports media complex on life support for the last few weeks. But yeah, I'll take it, even without crowd noise. I just feel like something is going to feel like it's missing. That's my guess. We'll see.
That aside, I do think there's another level to releasing the schedule. I think. Okay, so there's this Mortal Kombat between the sports league. Whether you're the NBA, mostly the NBA and the NFL for the most part. Baseball is sort of like a minor player in this fight, but those are the two that are truly fighting at the moment. And the NBA is going. We're really having a terrible season ratings wise. Terrible season. They were down tremendously across the board, and not just national games, because that happens from every few years. Local games were down, which was the scarier thing. That means local fan bases didn't care or cared less. I think the NFL, I see releasing a schedule, even if it's an uncertain schedule, when the other guys can't even get on the court or get on the ice. It's one of those, like, I'm asserting my dominance kind of moves.
Yeah, I think that's quite clear. Well, that's the impression I got. That's what it seems like.
And
like, we're not slowing down for this shit, basically, is what they're saying. But my question is, what happens if and when one of these dudes dies from this?
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen to somebody healthy and young who plays pro sport, and it could happen to a star.
The good thing is that it appears less likely. It appears, at least at the moment, less likely. I mean,
right, but
I'm not saying it is. It just, at the moment, from the data we have,
right, it appears that way. But what happens when a star athlete dies? I mean, several the big names have already come up as being positive, and they haven't appeared to get sick. But
sure.
Well, what happens when somebody has to miss several weeks because of symptoms or whatever?
So, would you want to play with that guy?
Exactly. And
are we going to end up with a Magic Johnson kind of scenario?
Right. And also, you mentioned Sports Island. The NBA had flirted with the idea, and baseball as well, of keeping all the teams confined to one central location where the teams would play each other with a bunch of different playing fields. And I think that's in theory sensible, but I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? Separate these people from their families? Like, you can't contain this. Even trying to keep people apart, like there's only so much you can do. So, God forbid, some star quarterback fucking dies from this shit. Then the entire team has to quarantine, and then the whole season gets derailed. That. I mean, it's totally possible.
Yes.
In fact, it's very plausible.
Yes.
That could happen. So, and I heard Mike Florio's. Go ahead.
I'm totally with you on every point. Go ahead.
And I hope it. I really, really hope it doesn't happen. I heard Mike Florio saying that the NFL was confident that there would be widespread testing throughout the country. But by the time those games are supposed to start in September, both players and fans will be able to test before they go to the game, right after they get home. And who are they getting that from? If that's the government telling them that, then sorry, I feel like they're being sold a line of goods, or whatever the expression is, and a bill of goods. And we don't know if that's going to be in place by then. Also, certain fucking states are not going to be open yet, are not going to be allowed to do this necessarily, right? So certain teams won't necessarily be allowed to even gather that many people just to practice or to have games, even if there's no fans there. That's number one. Two, I would suspect that because certain states are rushing to reopen, that they're going to be disaster areas 4 months from now. So who knows? Again, I want this to happen, but expecting these people to leave their family. I mean, they're not being expected. From what I understand, I think the way it's being sold is that their families can come with them or something. I don't know. I don't know how that all these logistics are going to work. Who is going to have all these logistics figured out in the time between now and then?
They're not. um, and I don't expect that to happen at all. I think when baseball comes back, and it appears that it will come back in July. Um, at least from what I was reading earlier this afternoon, I think they're going to attempt it in a normal way, just without fans.
Hmm.
Um, and I find that a little bit more weird. Anticipating that, I mean, in terms of just the idea of nobody going to catch a foul ball, or
Hmm. Yeah.
nobody or nobody trying to catch a home run, or just like it's kind of like glorified batting practice is what it certainly
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sounds like at the moment. Um, so I find that a little bit odd. At least in football, nobody's going into the stands. Um, but I do think that, like, if something like that happens, I think you may get another Rudy Gobert moment on steroids.